It's reading vlog time, and I am so far behind that I only have enough time to say welcome or welcome back to Mr. Francy Reads! Yes, hello and welcome back to Mr. Francy Reads. My name is Mr. Francy and I'm so honoured that you've chosen to join me again today for this reading vlog update. Oh my goodness, you guys, I am so far behind. I'm about 48 hours behind, which is not like me, but that's okay. We have a lot to discuss. I have 4 books to take you through, 2 of which I have completed and 2 of which I'm currently reading. So let's discuss it. The last time we spoke, I was partway through this massive book, like, it's way too big, of Dracula by Bram Stoker. So yeah, I was partway through this book and I think I said I was enjoying it. I honestly don't even remember what I said last week, but that's okay. I finished this book and ultimately I gave it 3.5 stars. This book is kind of hard to give a plot for, so I'm going to read what Goodreads have said about Dracula, what their premise is, and I don't think it's just me. According to Goodreads, they say, Bram Stoker's classic novel of suspense and horror was a bestseller in Britain when it was published in 1897. A late 20th century biographer of Stoker has suggested that famed Victorian actor Henry Irving, for whom Stoker worked for many years, was an inspiration for some of Count Dracula's characteristics. That's not a premise either. So, I don't know if anyone has a... Oh, there's a premise on the back. Let's try that one instead. We should have tried that all along. The internet is no comparison to a physical book. Okay, let's read this. During a business visit to Count Dracula's castle in Transylvania, a young English solicitor finds himself at the centre of a series of horrifying incidents. Jonathan Harker is attacked by 3 phantom women, observes the Count's transformation from human to bat form, and discovers a puncture wound on his neck that seems to have been made by teeth. Harker returns home upon his escape from Dracula's grim fortress, but a friendly strange malady, involving sleepwalking, inexplicable blood loss, and mysterious throat wounds initiates a frantic vampire hunt, and more happens from there, but if I read any more, I'm going to be spoiling you. Now to my thoughts on this way too big a book. I get that it's a classic. This is an adult classic, in case you didn't know. I get that it's a classic. I understand why. The writing style definitely is, indicative of the time that it was written. And yeah, so I can appreciate that it's a classic. But rating it on my thoughts as far as my own entertainment with this book, I loved the first third. I loved the final third. I did not like the second third. And I'll explain why. The first third and the final third are rather action-packed, or, well, to be more realistic, the first quarter and the final quarter are rather action-packed, and I really appreciate it. I honestly felt like this could have been a novella. We could have just stopped after the first quarter, because the first quarter was so good it would have received 5 stars from me. But the second and third quarters are mainly journal/diary entries, which is really not my thing, and a lot of it is insinuation. I don't think it's a spoiler to say that Dracula is called Dracula because Dracula himself is a vampire. So I went into this book really excited because I'd just come off reading something vampiric. The Twilight Saga. I had to think for a second there. And I wanted to read more vampire stuff. And the first quarter definitely reflects vampire stuff. The second and third quarter with the journal entries, they're more insinuations of vampire things that are happening. And if you didn't know any better, you would probably just read it and go, oh, suspicious things are happening. And so I didn't really appreciate that. But the final quarter was incredibly dramatic, and I did love that. So I ended up giving this book 3.5 stars. I think reading it once was enough for me, though. And I'm looking for vampire fiction fiction vampire recommendations. Let me know them in the comments below. Ones that you love, that have the vampires at the front and center the entire time, or most of the time anyway. Because, yeah, now that I've finished the Twilight Saga and Vampire Academy, I want to read more vampire stuff. So let me know what you recommend in the comments below, and let me know the genre of what you're recommending too. But 3.5 stars from me. I'm glad I read it, because now I know what it's about. I don't think I'll need to reread it again though. So the next book that I picked up was a cozy mystery. Oh, by the way, I didn't say, Dracula was the first buddy read of the month for the Miss Francy Reads buddy reads. I have 2 buddy reads going on. The next book I read was the second buddy read. And that was this book, Basket Case by Nancy Haddock. Take a moment to enjoy the cover, because it is a really, really, really beautiful cover. As far as the story was concerned, it just wasn't for me. Let's read the premise on the back. It says, when Leslie Stanton, who's otherwise known as Nixie, gets the latest call from Lilydale detective Eric Shower, she knows it means trouble. There's been another kitchen explosion in her Aunt Sherry's farmhouse, and the dreamy-voiced detective has had enough. If Nixie doesn't check on her aunt in person, the Silver Six could become wards of the court. But the trouble Nixie finds in Lilyvale is not at all what she expects. The seniors are hosting a folk art festival at the farmhouse, featuring Sherry's hand-woven baskets, when land developer Jill Elsman arrives to buy Nixie's aunt into selling the property. When Jill is later found dead in the cemetery, Sherry is suspected of weaving a murder plot, and it's up to Nixie and the Silver Six to untangle the truth. Okay, so let me unpack this by doing it this way. When it comes to cozy mysteries, which I am still new at, compared to some who have read over 900, I'm very new compared to that. I like to divide my thoughts based on the 2 words in this genre, which are cozy and mystery. I like to see what sort of a percentage each aspect has in a cozy mystery. So, and idealistically for me, it's going to be 50% cozy, 50% mystery. Anything outside of that, I really hope leans more towards the cozy side, so that it's either 60% cozy or 70% cozy and the rest mystery. This book did not do that. This book was 90% mystery, 10% cozy. And the reason for that is because of, as the premise says, Nixie is phoned by the detective to go down and find out what the heck is going on. Something has already gone down that we weren't privy to, and she goes to see her auntie in wherever the heck this is, in Arkansas, to see what is going on. So she's already going there to try and solve something, and we know next to nothing about her. And that just threw me off. And for the majority of the rest of the book, we're just literally trying to solve whatever's going on, and then someone dies and we're trying to solve that. And that's fine, but to me, the only thing that's cozy about this book is, in fact, the front cover. And that's why I'm trying to show you guys the front cover, because it's really cute. If I didn't consider it a sin to rip up a book, and I say this with a lot of pleasure to the artist, I would literally rip the cover off and frame it, because I love the cover. The cover is beautiful. It doesn't really depict what's going on inside, as far as I'm concerned. So it really just wasn't for me. I ended up giving this book, I think, 2 stars. I'll just double check. Yeah, I ended up giving this book 2 stars. It just wasn't for me. I just did not enjoy it at all. So, yeah. I know I said over on my Discord that I would say a lot more than that, but I don't think a lot more really needs to be said. It was 90% mystery. To me, that does not a cozy mystery make. To me, this book just might as well be called a mystery and not a cozy mystery, and have a different cover. I'll take this one, I'll frame this one, but this is not what the book's about. So anyway, I am going to read book number 2, despite my thoughts on book number 1, and that's purely because I already have book 2. I ordered book 2 right away after I ordered book 1, because this series is on my SAS list. It is part of the Silver Six Crafting Mystery series, and We'll see how we go with book number 2, but if this continues in the same vein, if book 2 is 90% mystery and 10% cozy, then maybe it's just not the series for me. We'll see how we go. Best of luck for book number 2, Nancy Haddock. So the next book that I read was one of the novellas from this book. First of all, let's give a shout out to this gorgeous book and let me explain how I came across this one. Alright, so it is no secret if you've been following me, but if you haven't been, then allow me to just take a moment to explain to you that this series that you see right here is displayed the way it is because it is my favourite cozy mystery series of all time. It is the Amish Candy Shop series by Amanda Flower. Okay, for those of you who don't know, this is the first 4 books in that series. Yes, Mr. Francy is going to take a moment to give everyone a little bit of a story time about the Amish Candy Shop. So, book number 1 is this book, Assaulted Caramel, and I gave this book 5 stars. Book number 2 is this book, Lethal Licorice, and I gave this book 5 stars. Book number 3 is this book, Premeditated Peppermint, and I gave this book 5 stars. After reading book number 3, you go on to read the first novella in this series, which is book 3.5, and that is called Criminally Coco. After Criminally Coco, you go on to read book 4, which is this book, Toxic Toffee. I gave Criminally Coco 5 stars, and I gave Toxic Toffee 4 stars. After reading Toxic Toffee, you go on to read book 4.5, the second novella, and that is where this book comes in. This book is a compendium of all three, not 2, but 3 novellas that have been published in this series so far. I love physical books, and so the fact that the novellas have been combined together in the form of a physical book makes me so incredibly happy. It's a lot taller. Oh, you can't really see it that way. It's a lot taller than the other books, but it doesn't matter because it is so adorable. Okay, so the first novella is, as I said, Criminally Coco. I gave that 5 stars. The second novella is the one that I read this week, which is called Botched Butterscotch. And you guys, being back in this world after reading these 2 books was a breath of fresh air. Oh my gosh, I love this series so much. I could hang out at Harvest, Ohio. I could hang out in Harvest, Ohio all my life. I just want to... Have you ever seen that show Gumby, where Gumby walks into books? I just want to walk into any of these books and just live in Harvest, Ohio. I love this series so much. So in Botched Butterscotch, we continue to follow our protagonist throughout the series that we follow. In the first novella, Criminally Coco, we follow our protagonist's cousin, but in the second novella, the one I read this week, Botched Butterscotch, we are following the protagonist we follow throughout the series, Bailey King. Mother's Day is a sweet and busy time at the candy shop. Bailey King runs with her Amish grandmother, which is called Swissman Sweets, by the way. This year, Bailey's parents are visiting, and for Mother's Day, tea at the local church. Tea at the local church. Bailey's whipping up her mum's favourite butterscotch fudge. All's going well until a sticky-fingered thief makes off with the money raised for a local women's support group. Can Bailey find the culprit before events boil over into disaster? And that's one of the things I love about the novellas in this series. Most cozy mysteries, at least all the ones I've read, until the novellas, deal with a death. Someone has been murdered, we're trying to solve the murder. In the novellas in this series, it is not a murder that we're trying to solve. It's another type of mystery. And, as you just heard me say, in Botched Butterscotch, we're trying to work out who stole the money. As I say, I love being back in Harvest, Ohio. I gave it 5 stars. Are we surprised? Not really. And next month, I'm going to read the next book in this series. I sometimes have books that face outwards in my bookshelf, like we can see Pirates Cove right there, and we can't really see others, but if I tilt upwards, we can see the witching flower right up there. Yes, I still have my Easter bunny up there. I need to move that. I just keep forgetting to. Every time I watch my videos, I'm like, oh, I've got to move that bunny out the way, and I never do. I keep forgetting. I lead a very busy life. Anyway, the reason why all 4 of these books are facing outwards is because of how much love I have for this entire series. So I now, well, I can't now. At the end of the month, I'm going to put this book right up here. There. So that that one can be facing upwards as well. Oh, and there's my coffee, because we all know Mr. Francy's diva moment. Where's my coffee? Here it is right here. 5 stars from me. And now, my friends, I'm going to talk to you about the books that I'm currently reading. I'm reading 2 cozies because, you know what? This book, Botched Butterscotch, broke my TBR because after reading Dracula and Basket Case, I just wanted to read cozies. I didn't want to read anything that wasn't a cozy. So anything that was a cozy was brought forward. So, the next book that I picked up that I'm steadily working my way through is a book that I'm physically reading called Kernel of Truth by Christy Abbott. So again, it's an adult cozy mystery. Let's read the premise on the back. This is book number 1 in the Popcorn Shop Mystery series. The premise on the back says, opening a gourmet popcorn shop was never on Rebecca Anderson's bucket list, but after a failed marriage to a celebrity chef, she's ready for her life to open up and expand. She has returned to her hometown of Grand Lake, Ohio, with her popcorn-loving poodle, Sprocket, to start a new business, naturally called Pops. As a delicious bonus, Cordelia Coco Biddles, a close family friend who has always been like a grandmother to Rebecca, owns the chocolate shop next door, and the two are thinking of combining their businesses. But when Coco's niece Jessica discovers her on the floor of her chocolate shop, those dreams go up in smoke. Yeah, I've been really incredibly excited to read this series, this book, for a long time now. And my biggest qualm with it was that there's no audiobook available for this, which is tough because I'm in the middle of crocheting a blanket, which, you know what, let's just cut to the blanket now because everyone keeps asking me about my blanket. So let's just cut to it so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so I have it hanging up at the moment because when I do video streams, it's always right behind me. But this is the beginning of the blanket. So as you can see, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 squares across so far. And then we go down. And that last row down there is the latest one that I was working on. So, yeah, the goal is to have, as we see, the pink and yellow square up there, the orange and red square over there. And at the moment, I'm working in the middle to do a yellow and white one. And then I'm going to have 2 colors like the pink and yellow, but not pink and yellow. That'll be down in the bottom left-hand corner. And 2 colors like we have with the red and orange, but not red and orange, in the other corner, in the bottom right-hand corner. But that's how it is at the moment. So there you go. Do you want to see more of my blankets progress during my reading vlogs? If you do, let me know. Let's make our way back over to Kernel of Truth. I was disappointed that it was not available on audiobook, as it just sounded amazing. And because I'm working on my crochet blanket at the moment, audiobooks really help me because I can do both at the same time, listen and work on my crochet blanket. But yeah, I'm 6 chapters into this one at the moment. It's going slow because I am actually filming an audio book for my mum of this book. So yeah, it's been an interesting ride for me, not only reading but recording at the same time. And I have recorded the first 6 chapters so far, and I let her know that once she's finished the first 6, I will do the next 6. If you would like a copy of this completely amateur version of an audiobook of this book, just let me know and I'll try and get that to you. So far, it's been okay. I've been enjoying the culinary side of it. It's definitely a culinary cozy because we're following Rebecca in her popcorn shop, and I am loving that. The mystery side has not appealed to me yet, but we've just started. You know, I'm only there. So I'm up to chapter 8. Oh, there you go. I thought I was 6 chapters in, but I'm up to chapter 8. Go me. Okay, so I'm 85 pages in, which is still not a lot, but yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I'm going to reserve rating because I honestly don't know where we're headed at the moment. But hopefully you'll get an update on this next week. But if you don't worry. The goal is to read this book. I'm just going to wait for my mum to catch up with the audio version before I record the next lot. So the final book I have to show you is the next book I'm listening to on audio. And you guys, I was so excited to get into book number 2 in this series because I loved the cozy side of book number 1 so much. In fact, it is being shown outwards at facing to you right now, which is this book right here, Murder at Pirates Cove, book number 1 in the Secrets and Scrabbles Cozy Mystery series. I love this series for so many reasons, but 2 of the biggest reasons are because 1, we are following a male protagonist, which doesn't happen often, and the second reason is because that male protagonist just so happens to be gay. So there's not a lot I can tell you about book 2, but I'll hold it up in a minute. But with book 1, I can tell you that our protagonist, whose name is Ellery Page, works in a bookstore that was bequeathed to him from a long-lost relative, and he's trying to make this work. Ellery lives in Pirates Cove. I was going to say something else there. Lives in Pirates Cove, which was a cove that used to be inhabited by pirates who have now long gone, and it is a nice and cozy and comfortable cove, and yet people still embrace that piratey culture by dressing up as pirates and theatrically acting out as if they were pirates, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I really enjoy it. I picked up book number 2, which is Secret at Skull House, book number 2 in the Secrets and Scrabble mystery series. I am currently there, I'm quite a ways in, chapter 15, so I'm up to page 177, and I am really, really enjoying this book, and let me tell you why. After I'd read the first 7 chapters, we still didn't quite know what the mystery was, and that made me so happy, because that means this is an overwhelming cozy mystery. Overwhelmingly cozy. So yeah, if we're going with those percentages, like I've said with Basket Case, how it was 90% mystery, 10% cozy, this is more like, well, at the moment, we do know who the mystery, what the mystery is and what's going on there, but at the moment, this is more like a 70% cozy, 30% mystery book, and I love it! It is just so much fun! So, in book 2, Ellery's ex-boyfriend comes to town. He has 2 exes, one that he spoke about a little bit in book 1, but this is the other one. His name is Brandon. Brandon is a very well-known horror book writer. He comes to town to, he purchases a house that has been around for a long time and has some unsolved cases attached to it, some cold cases that are going on with it, and he wants to gain inspiration from the house. Ellery does not like Brandon at all. He says that Brandon is very snobby and very hard to be around. And then one day, Brandon winds up dead, and Ellery is the number 1 suspect because he's the only person that knew Brandon before Brandon came to town. So Ellery now is going to go out of his way to try and solve this murder because he's the number 1 suspect, despite the fact that Police Chief Carson does not want him to do this and has told him so. I am loving this. Please do not let the skull throw you off. It is a beautiful series. I get why there's a skull on the cover. It's called Skull House, and that's the house that Brandon bought, but it really truly is a cozy mystery series, and it is so incredibly cozy. As I said, like 70% cozy, 30% mystery. So if you like those types of cozies and you want to see it done in the gay way, the male way, then yeah, definitely give the series a go. Alright, let's talk about what I'm going to be reading for the week to come. If my mother is able to get through the first 2 hours of the audiobook of Kernel of Truth, then I will read some more of this, but this is one that will take me a while to get through, so there's no way it'll be finished within the week, but I'm looking forward to continuing my progress with it. Obviously, I'm going to finish off Secret at Skull House. I plan to have this done by the end of today. Once this is done, I'm moving on to yet another cozy that was on my TBR, which is this gorgeous cover. Let's hope that, unlike Basket Case, that this is actually a really cozy book. It's called A Side of Murder by Amy Pershing. It is book number 1 in the Cape Cod Foodie mystery series, and I'm really excited to get to it. If I remember correctly, this book is about a restaurant reviewer, so yeah, I'm excited to get to this. Once that is done, I have no more cozies on my TBR. So the next book I'm going to turn to is going to help me with my SAS list, and that will be book 2 in the Legend series by Marie Lu. Book number 2 is this book, which is Prodigy. Then I'm going to be picking up book number 2 in the Steel and Fire series. I read Duel of Fire, I think, last year, and I want to close out that series this year. So this is book number 2, King of Mist, by Jordan Rivet. This is a YA fantasy series. If I finish this book in time, and I still have time, then the next book I'm going to pick up is the second book in the Del Toro Quest series. I read The Forest of Silence, which is book number 1 in the Del Toro Quest series a little while ago. I loved book 1. I'm looking forward to book 2. This is book 2, and it is called The Lake of Tears. I'm sorry about the scary cover. All of the covers look to be really scary, and it's a middle grade series. Like, I mean, you couldn't make it more endearing to middle graders, but anyway. But it's by Emily Rodda, and yeah, it's a middle... Sorry, I'm celebrating here. It's a middle grade book from Middle Grade May! Yay! I did not plan that. I'm reading it because Del Toro Quest is on my SAS list, but shh, we won't tell anyone that. We'll just say Mr. Francy's reading it for Middle Grade May. Yay! Up. These are the books that I have read and spoke about this week. Up. These are the books that I'm currently reading. Up. These are the books that I would like to get to most of in the coming week. Alright, so how did your second week of May go reading-wise? Let me know in the comment section below. But in the meantime, that is where I am going to leave it. Letting you guys go with peace, blessings, and so much love. I post videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I'll see you again soon. Mwah! Be kind, love one another, and spread your sparkling energy all throughout the world. And until next time, happy reading!